And today's gathering is a chance, though, I think, for us to collectively consider what more we can each do to support each other as women, but to recognise the particular challenges and strains that BME women continue to face and struggle with in 2018 Scotland. So I really want to thank Fiona and Michael of Radiant and Brighter for inviting me to share a few words with you on the role of minority ethnic groups and particularly women in Scottish society. And I also want to thank everyone who's been involved in planning and organising today's incredibly vibrant and exciting conference. And when your invite came in, I was more than happy to accept it and make sure that I was here today. But one of the reasons I'm so pleased to be with you today is that I had the pleasure of visiting Radiant and Brighter last month at their offices in Glasgow, where I was able to meet with some of you, understand a bit more about Radiant and Brighter's work, but also, and really importantly, hear some of your stories. And although I was only with you for a short while, it was special to be welcomed so warmly and to really strongly feel the clear bond, the sisterhood, companionship and solace that you found with one another. For me to get to and feel that so strongly in those short moments I was with you was brilliant and will be always something that remains with me. The positive energy in that room that I visited and then as now was in stark contrast, though, to the struggles that you have endured and challenges you've faced in your lives that some of you described to me. And that insight is one of the reasons why we do closely work with Radiant and Brighter through our social innovation partnership with the Hunter Foundation, which seeks to tackle inequality in Scotland. And I know that Radiant and Brighter provides great support to many of you, offering a safe space in which to come together, to share your experiences, to laugh and to cry, and really just be yourselves. And Laurencia, I loved hearing your words that when you first came to Scotland, you felt lonely and lost, but through Radiant and Brighter, you felt that you had come home. Those are really powerful words, and they really, I think, captured the real essence of what Radiant and Brighter do. But it's a testament to your own personal courage and strength that you're all here today, again sharing your stories, but also, though, your hopes for the future, your ambitions, and channeling that experience into creating a better path for the future, and challenging us as a government and as a society about where we need to do more. Now, Scotland has a long history of welcoming migrants, refugees and asylum seekers from all over the world. And since October 2015 alone, communities across Scotland have welcomed and provided safety and support to more than 2,300 refugees escaping the conflict in Syria. And today, around 8% of the Scottish population comes from minority ethnic groups. Scotland is becoming a far more diverse country. Our BME communities are making Scotland an even better place to be, and we are glad that so many have chosen Scotland to be their home. And our approach to welcoming people from around the world who have come to Scotland is distinctively our own, because we believe that people should be supported with their integration from the first day they arrive here, not simply or only when they've been granted leave to remain. But we also know, as Radiant and Brighter's work shows us, that integration is a two-way process requiring genuine dialogue between the individual and the host, and it also requires time and patience. Cultural encounters can often be fraught with miscues, misreading and misunderstanding, but if approached sensitively, respectfully and with an open mind, such encounters can yield most positive results for both the individual and the host community, with each truly enriching the other. And I certainly enjoyed hearing just the tail end of some of those conversations that I had about sharing food, but was reflecting, I think, on your story about your troublesome in-laws, and thought that despite the countries that we may come from, the challenges that we all face with in-laws seem to transcend those boundaries. But I'll keep some of my challenges to myself, if you don't mind. But more seriously, the understanding that we need to show for each other's cultures means that the final result can be not only greater diversity, but also, crucially, greater cohesion, whether that's in our workplaces, our schools, our places of worship, our communities, and indeed the whole country as a whole. The Bright Futures Mentoring Programme is a perfect example of just how positive these encounters can be. And I know that some of you involved in the programme have been quite profoundly affected by it. Sometimes it's only by walking in another person's shoes, or at least with them, that we can begin to understand something of their lives, the mentee often becoming the mentor. And it's true, people from ethnic minority communities in Scotland still face real challenges. We know that, for instance, that despite high levels of educational attainment, they are twice as likely to be unemployed. When we look a little closer at the figures, we see that women face particular disadvantage, with female employment rates typically around 22 percentage points lower than male rates, which is around 4 times higher than the employment gap between white males and females. And that hard and uncomfortable truth is something that clearly needs us to work together to tackle. We want to do all we can to advance the cause of greater equality of opportunity for all, because if we don't, it is the country that stands to lose out on all of your talents, your knowledge, and the contribution that you can make to our society. The prospect of not capitalising on what you as women can often offer to our communities, our country, and of course to our economy is not something that I want to tolerate, and I congratulate the work of Radiant and Brighter for seeking to reverse these employment trends. And that's also why we're taking a number of actions across government, including through our Race Equality Action Plan, which seeks to ensure better outcomes for women from ethnic minority groups across a range of measurements. And we've also recently published our second New Scots Refugee Integration Strategy, which sets out a vision of for a welcoming Scotland where refugees and asylum seekers are able to rebuild their lives as soon as they arrive on our shores. And our partnership with Radiant and Brighter forms part of that wider work. Fiona and Michael themselves know well the challenges that people can face when they come to the UK. And because of that experience, they've been able to build an organisation and a suite of programmes that every day are delivering better outcomes for people from ethnic minorities, creating a positive ripple effect beyond that single individual. Enterprise is an important strand of that work, and through our Scotland Can Do approach, we've set out our intention to be a world-leading entrepreneurial and innovation nation, a can-do place for business. Scotland Can Do embodies a shared vision where growth and innovation go hand in hand with wider benefits to all our society. Crucially, though, it involves a focus on the entrepreneurial mindset and on building a confident, collaborative culture where enterprise is seen as a valid and viable option for all. While we know, for instance, that BME-led businesses account for about 3% of SMEs in Scotland and that people from BME communities are more likely to be involved in starting up a business, we know too that they can face a range of challenges that may require different, more tailored solutions. And that's why the input of partners like Radiant and Brighter is vital, because they can reach into communities in ways that are sensitive to their needs and circumstances. And I'm sure that sensitivity has helped facilitate the remarkable progress that the Bright Futures Group has achieved in such a short space of time. Now, I understand a number of you have or are in the process of setting up your own businesses, while a couple of others have even gone on to publish their own books, which I'm told I can get on Amazon. These are no mean feats, and you should be very proud of what you've accomplished so far. If you've managed to accomplish so much in a little less than a year, then I sincerely and really look forward to celebrating even more successes in the future and the years ahead. Friends, female entrepreneurship is a major focus of the Scottish Government, and my colleague Jamie Hepburn, who's the Minister for Business, currently chairs a high-level action group specifically on this issue. We believe that supporting more women to set up and succeed in business is not only a moral imperative, it's also an economic one, with evidence from the Hunter Centre at Strathclyde University suggesting that if women's participation rates matched men's, there's potentially it would be around 35,000 more direct jobs in the Scottish economy. There are signs, though, that our efforts are helping to unlock some of that potential. And research tells us that your entrepreneurial activity is part of that larger upward trend in the proportion of women starting a business in Scotland. While this is, of course, though, encouraging, we're certainly not complacent and remain determined to do still more to ensure that the economic benefits of female entrepreneurship are fully realised. As the Scotland Can Do philosophy makes clear, no one organisation or operational approach holds the answer. But by working closely together, we can aspire to bring about real and lasting cultural change. So friends, all of you here today represent the enormous opportunity that Scotland has if it can effectively unleash your full potential. The achievements you've made so far individually and collectively with Radiant and Brighter are inspiring, and we want to see that grow even further. You're fantastic role models for other BME women and girls, and all women and girls, who are emerging into their own adulthoods, who will wish to explore what is possible for them and for their future. Without you here, setting the blueprint, breaking down the barriers, some of that exploration would not be so wide or as aspirational. So it's my real privilege to be with you, to feel your warmth again, your energy and your complete and utter determination. And it's my privilege to be in government to advance your cause as best as I can. So thank you again for letting me be here. Thank you again to Radiant Brighter for the work that you do. And I really look forward to hoping that this isn't the last chance I get to engage with you, but working with you to make sure that we can make the better Scotland that we all wish to be part of. So thank you, and I look forward to working with you.